How are you guys? Having a good convention? Nice. You probably remember, you know Mr. Houston from Sherlock Holmes? So we're just gonna have a little chat, and then later on I'll open it up to everybody to ask some questions. So it's time to think about your questions now. Wait, please, as we were talking backstage, tell me a little bit about yourself. You said you were actually born in England, but you are Irish with Scottish background. Could you tell us something about that?
Yeah, my family would have been Scottish 400 or 500 years ago. And they went over to the north of Ireland with Cromwell, actually, with Oliver Cromwell. And they would have been the bad guys back in those days. But they're not now.
Bad guys, marauders, what do you mean?
Well, you know, Northern Ireland, Catholic, Protestant.
Okay.
Protestantism was a very new thing back then, so that's not my family's greatest moment. That's for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I was born in England. I was there for about 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, and then went back to Northern Ireland with my mum and my family. I was there in the 70s and the 80s. So that was interesting. Belfast was very interesting back then.
Did you study? Your acting school was in?
Do you know? No, I was at a boarding school, a Methodist college in Belfast, and I couldn't really concentrate when I was a kid. I wasn't studious.
Okay.
I couldn't hold my concentration on the page.
No.
I'm probably a little bit dyslexic or something like that. You know?
Well, I mean, we all have a slight dyslexia, but you know, we probably were just a great imagination, and you had all.
This is it, staring out the window all the time, staring out the window, thinking I was James Bond or something like that. And then I was failing my exams when I was 18 years old, and my best friend knew I was certainly going to fail my exams, and said, why don't you try and audition for the school play? And I did, and it was The Crucible, Miller, and I got the part of Proctor.
Proctor.
So, and once I got the bug for it, as soon as I started it, I found I could express myself through a text in a way that I couldn't face to face. So, yeah, that was it. And then
And it cut you from there.
Absolutely, yeah. I did the Ulster Youth Theatre, the National Youth Theatre, and then very quickly went off to drama school in London. Went to the Central School of Speech and Drama, where Laurence Olivier went.
Yes.
Everybody thinks he went to RADA, but he went to Central.
Central, that's right.
I was 3 years there, and then within about 6 months, I was signed up to the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-upon-Avon, and was there for 10 years. I started out carrying spears, sort of standing, you know, at the back of the stage, you know, with no lines, twiddling my thumbs. So a couple of years at that.
You step forward a couple of
Yeah,
years.
step forward a bit, yeah.
Give you a couple of lines.
A few lines. And then understudied, actually. I understudied some great actors. Alex Jennings, Ian Glenn.
Oh, wow.
Game of Thrones. Superb actor. And yeah, understudying is wonderful because you get to ghost a really incredible actor around the stage. You have to be prepared to go on. But these contracts are anything up to 2 years long, so you're there for a long time. And if something happens to an artist, then you would have to stand in. And then eventually, well,
You never got to say. I mean, basically, you sit in the back going, okay, I hope he gets ill.
no.
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 Okay.
Terrifying.
So you're like, okay, I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when Alex was playing Hamlet and Ian was Henry V, so I didn't want to. It's a big step up. But then I got to play those parts myself later on,
Right.
you know, years later for the same.
And you already understudied and you knew the work already.
Step by step.
Step by step. Right. So, I mean, because I know you got a pretty high experience in theater. And Was it an easy transition for you from stage to film? How do you balance these two? I mean,
initially it's very different initially, and quite terrifying. Because you don't really get much time to rehearse on a set.
right.
And I'm used to, in theater rehearsing for 5 weeks, 6 weeks sometimes.
Right.
So that was a real surprise, especially considering the budgets that are invested in films.
Right.
I thought back then, I'm sure we're going to get weeks rehearsals or 2 weeks rehearsals.
No.
5 minutes. I remember doing Elizabeth the Golden Age with Kate Blanchett. I was playing a Spanish ambassador in it, and my first day on set was this scene where we have this
a confrontation.
confrontation. We shot it at Ely Cathedral near Cambridge, and yeah, that was a learning curve.
Oh, okay. So you walked on and you knew you had to be when you were.
Rush, Kate Blanchett, big scene in your face, no rehearsals, playing a Spaniard, I'm a ginger Irishman. Oh no! So
that's a shocker right there. Then Sherlock Holmes came along.
Sherlock Holmes came along,
As we're talking backstage, you had other interests in other heroes that were more appealing to you. What is the balance with Sherlock Holmes? How did he appeal to you?
I had when I was a kid, I didn't watch too much TV. I couldn't sit still for too long.
Sound like my kid.
Yeah, always outside. I was like that. So if I would come in for a James Bond film, that always got me in.
Okay.
But I did like also Hammer horror. I like vampires.
Okay.
I like werewolves.
Oh, okay.
And so I love The Hand of the Baskervilles.
Oh, that's great.
This is a great toothed beast in that. And of course, the one I remember was with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Because they were, of course, Van Helsing and Dracula.
And Dracula, right? Yeah.
So that was my first. I actually got to meet and work with Christopher Lee when I was about 27. I was doing the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey. It was the first Hallmark venture into television. We were in Turkey, and Christopher Lee was playing Tiresias. Anyway, he was in Hades. He was in hell. So I didn't get to meet him on screen, but one day I couldn't. I was like, that's Dracula. Right? Christopher Lee is. He truly is terrifying. He's an incredibly imposing man.
He's a tall man?
Oh, he's a big man, yeah. I think during the Second World War he was also, very involved in that kind of thing. So he's a real soldier. Anyway, I came around the corner one day off set, and I'm walking down, and Christopher Lee comes out of his dressing room, and he's walking towards me, and I'm just thinking, it's Dracula.
The fangs.
And as he got to me, he said, watch out for the Fanta. And I thought, watch out for the Fanta? What's he talking about? What's Dracula telling me to watch out for the Fanta for? And I didn't see there was a puddle of Fanta on the floor, and I'm thinking, and he didn't stop. He didn't stop, he just kept going, and I just heard him. I saw his back as he walked away, and I heard,
Great.
that was it. Never spoke to him again. But no, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, who's Clark? It's Constable Clark.
Constable Clark is, I suppose, lower middle class, upwardly mobile, fairly intelligent. In all, Sherlock Holmes recognizes that Holmes is the future. Obviously, he's been around Lestrade, who's a traditional, tough policeman. So yeah, he's probably got a. I like to think that he was home with his wife and young family, and probably sort of Whitechapel area of London at the time, with the sort of working classes, lower classes would have been together.
I mean, what was your? Because obviously you had seen some Sherlock Holmes, or read a little bit about it, or did a little research.
Lots of source material. I mean, Conan Doyle's, volumes of Holmes are extraordinary. I got cast. I had about sort of 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks to get ready.
Research and get ready.
Wow, I was going to get through that. So I went straight back to reading How to Basketball. I don't think Turkey's in How to Basketball. He's very London-based.
Yeah.
But of course he's in awe of Sherlock Holmes, and that was very convenient for me because I was in awe of Robert Downey Jr. And so, any nerves that I might have been feeling working with Robert, I was able to digest into the character's
Nice.
relationship with Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
And Jude Law and Guy Ritchie.
Jude's incredible. He's very impressive. You never want to be in a two-shot with Jude Law because he's just far too good looking. So don't put me beside him, please. Please not him. Anybody but him.
Interesting. I met him here. Actually, he was here last year. And we were. There's a space called 25 Hotel 25 or something like that. And I was there with some friends. It was a friend's birthday, and I walk in and I see this cat, and they look at me, think, I know that guy. But I couldn't figure out from where. And I went in there, and we walked up, and somebody said, "Oh, Jude Law is here." And I'm thinking, oh. So I walked up to him and said, "Hi." He was great. He said, "Would you like a drink?" And I said, "Sure, I'll take a drink." And we chatted. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's also a big theatre guy. There's a lot of stage acting. He played Henry V recently, Hamlet recently. He's a patron of the Young Big Theatre Company in London, which is a fantastic theatre. I was doing a play there a couple of years ago. He came along to see it. We had a drink afterwards. And he's very down to earth. But as I said, whenever there's a camera around, stay away from it. But his work ethic as well on set is really impressive. Incredibly courageous. He takes notes from the director. Boom, like that. He just isn't at all worried about trying something out that might not be the right thing, and in order to get to the right thing.
Okay, so that must be pretty encouraging for everybody.
You know, it really is. I think, I say an actor should always exercise the right to fail. And if you don't exercise the right to fail, you could never break that barrier. Yeah. So all the very best actors I've worked with, they all have that confidence.
Do you have when you're doing theater and film? I get this question, and usually I think it's quite redundant, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Film and theater. Do you have a symbiosis? How do you find the balance? Is this because some people would say I love theater more, some people say I like film more. I'm pretty much in between. Yeah. I like both pretty much.
Yeah. It's very difficult to say step straight off the stage and then the next day be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
That can be hard.
Yeah, that's very hard. Yeah.
Well, theater is standard. There's your audience, or if you're at the Globe, there's your audience. Or even if you're in the round, your audience, they're right here, they're right now. Whereas on a set, you might have your audience might be through a lens, sort of just behind your ear.
Right.
So you can't really gauge them.
Okay.
And in a theater, I think an actor in a theater can be like a dolphin. You use your voice, you project your voice out, right. It comes back through an audience in a millisecond, and subconsciously you're able to gauge the space. It's very difficult to do that on the set. And of course, as I said, in theater you have rehearsals. Also, when you're performing, at 3:30, I drink 2 liters of water. I eat my protein at 5:30. I warm up my voice at 6:30. At 7:30, I walk through that curtain and I talk to that actor standing in that part of the stage.
Okay.
So all your timing, everything is rehearsed.
Right.
And on a film set, maybe you've got your big scene that day and they're late and you think, okay, they're not going to get to me. It's 5 o'clock, the light's going down. I'm going to eat those donuts that I've been looking at all day. The food on the film set.
The buffet is always there.
So you stuff the donuts thinking you're about to go home, and then you get a little knock. We're going to be right now. It's different. Yeah. But at the heart of it, it's the same. You're looking to be in character as deeply as possible, and you're looking to entertain people. What's the point? Entertain. Cool. That's what it is.
Is there another Sherlock Holmes in the pipeline?
There is, although where that pipeline is going to come out, I have no idea. I would say that few people do, a select few people do. I'm sure Team Downey do. Warner Brothers won it. The cast won it. We had such a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, such a good time. You can see it with the cast.
Yeah, you can see it with
There were Jude and Robert. Really, everybody. Fantastic cast. Yeah, we would all love that to happen. But when, I'm not sure, or where indeed it will be filmed. I'm hoping it will be set in London because Constable Clark, my character, is a London bobby.
Right.
So I'm hoping unless he gets made Detective Clark, he wouldn't be allowed to leave London. And it doesn't quite have the same ring as Constable Clark.
So
maybe Captain Clark, maybe the Sergeant Clark.
No,
But yeah, we hope so, and I'm sure it'll happen again. But it has to be, the story has to be great.
Okay.
The source material is there, and I hope that's what they draw.
I like Guy Ritchie. I've seen a lot of his work, and I actually read for him once for Volver.
Yeah.
And I liked him. He's a very interesting man. What was it like working with him?
He's got that, I think, that essential quality that all the great directors I've ever worked with have. You don't know why, but you just want to perform for it.
Okay.
You just do. You just want to do your best. And then there are a lot of directors, you know, for whatever they're feeling inside, whatever they mean. A lot of directors you work with, they're not confident perhaps with their social skills are perhaps not as up to par with their technical skills as a director. But Guy is an incredible personality. And he loves actors, and you really
you can
get that sense that he loves actors, and perhaps that's why you feel incredibly secure, you know, taking risks.
So he kind of gives you space to explore your character and the scene.
Although if we're not keeping to time,
Of course, he's going to pull out the whip.
yeah, count down from 10. And sometimes he plays a guitar.
Oh, cool.
That's it. He's very cool, and he's a martial artist and everything as well.
Yeah, I heard about that. What is he? What he does?
I don't know what it is he does. He and Robert used to talk about it a lot because Robert also is a
He does
serious
chewy.
that you know. Yeah. Yes, he does. Yes.
Sherlock Holmes series. There's a whole bunch of TV shows. We talked about it backstage, and we said we got Elementary and Sherlock. Do you think it's a positive step? That these characters are endless. I mean, they just.
They will be. The source material is so strong. The stories are so great. They can be told again and again, and they're so. The quality is so high in the story. Just the story on the basic level. The characters are so well written that actors can go back to that source material and develop characters, and then bring them into the modern day, and they still stand and they still. For my money, it still works. I didn't watch too much TV, and I still I'm a film man in the theater. But Martin Freeman, who plays Watson in Sherlock alongside Benedict Cumberbatch, he was in my year, just the year below me at drama school. So,
Okay.
and now he's the Hobbit.
He's a Hobbit, and he's.
Every time I'm walking in London, I see his face go past on the bus. It's incredible.
Now he's also another incredible actor.
Yeah. He always was.
Were you in the same school together or same class?
No, he was 1 year below me at that Central.
Okay.
And he was, he was terrific then. He's he's one of those actors that's just absolutely able to be himself. In front of a camera, an audience, doesn't change. I tend to get quite hyper. He's very calm.
Back to Charlotte. I think Charlotte, the story is about relationships, or it's about self-searching, or is it because the relationship between Watson and Sherlock and Clark and the surrounding team and Lestrade. Yeah. It seems it's not. I mean, it is. They're not. They seem to have a certain level where they agree at certain things, and also there's a certain personality clash as well. So this is pretty interesting. These elements, because you all get along and you're in the set. How does that come across within? Is it the play that you? Is it the play?
Yeah, it's the
brings it
famous
all out?
choices thing. It's again, you know, go back to the source material. It's so rich in the source material that you know, all the actors are going home and they're all using that source material to prepare. So it's there, but also I suspect that when a casting director and a director and producers are putting a creative team together, they're looking for the personalities that will deliver that anyway.
And what makes you think? Why do you think Sherlock Holmes is so globally recognized? It's such a transcendent story and character.
Yeah, as a character,
It's pretty much all over the world. And I'm
Yeah.
saying this is something that crosses all genders, races, and
it's lovely to think that one doesn't need brute force in a hero necessarily to have a hero who's
Okay.
you know, able to fly or see through walls, etc., etc. He uses his mind, the powers of
Deduction.
observation and deduction. So
that makes
very
us feel okay. We are capable of
yeah,
something.
and he's flawed.
And he's flawed as well.
You know, I think I admire the character of Sherlock Holmes. I'm not sure I'd want to be Sherlock Holmes because he's also very, very lonely.
Yeah.
I feel he's lonely, and his relationship with Watson is you know, he's his greatest friend. When Watson marries,
Yeah, you can feel that
you
something
really feel it.
hurt.
And he's quite also, you know, in the books, he's a fairly self-destructive character.
Do you know how
his
many books
relationship
were
with
written?
drugs, I think it's opium
Was his thing?
his thing. I'm not saying that's what I relate to.
Choice. Right. I'm going to open up to the audience. If you have any questions. Usually a handsome young man with a microphone or a pretty lady that you can stand behind. There you go. And thanks, Mary. If you have any questions, please just line up behind this young lady here and ask away. And just be.
I'm from Vienna,
What's your name?
Vanessa.
We met earlier.
Yeah. And I have a question to you. What's your favorite character you played so far, and what's your favorite actor?
My favorite character that I played, and who's my favorite actor? Let's stick with Scream. So my favorite character on Scream. Well, recently I played a vampire in a film called Dracula Untold, and I got to. I was liquefied on the end of a spear, but that's great fun to sort of burst. And playing vampires is great because every negative thought you've ever had, every bad feeling you've ever had, every time you've had to suppress rage, anger, hate, you can really put that into playing a vampire. Oh. So you can take it all out on the poor actor when you have whoever in that bite. You don't have to go to see your shrink. You don't have to go to see your therapist. You just put it all in that person's neck. So playing vampire was wonderful fun.
Therapeutic.
So therapeutic. Biting people. No, don't do it at home. That was great. I really enjoyed talking for different reasons. Obviously, just to be working with Robert and Eddie Masson and Mark Strong, etc., etc. I played a soldier in a war film called Age of Heroes, which was not a big budget movie, but I got to play a Scottish drill sergeant. And again, that was fun. In fact, I was telling people what to do and shouting at people. I have a Thompson machine gun. All those games you play as a child, that's what I really want to tick it up. Ride a horse, be a cowboy.
Bite somebody's neck.
Bite somebody's neck. So I'd love to be the James Bond movie, that would be them. Favorite actor? Oh, that's difficult to have. I really have so many. I think Kate Blanchett's an extraordinary actor.
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. is just an immense actor. working with him on set to watch his creativity under pressure. He's able to look at a scene and perhaps if the dialogue isn't quite right for him, he can just improvise. You have to improvise a lot. So, Robert, De Niro, Pacino, you know, of course. Yeah, so many. It's a very difficult question to keep short. I could just go on and on about actors. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Hi.
Hi, my name is Marie Antoinette. I'm from Vienna and from Chicago. My question is, I guess, you've played such a variety of roles and characters. What kind of role are you looking for now? What kind of character would you like to play?
You know, on stage it would be different to the screen. On stage, your sort of your core power as an actor is your vocal power. I believe that, and I find that the parts I play on screen are very, very different to the parts I'm cast in on stage because I maybe don't sound how I look. You know. Right now, I'm really blessed. I'm about to start shooting on a Western. In fact, tonight I get on a train to Budapest, and I'm going up into the northern part of Hungary to start on a Western with Dakota Fanning and Guy Pearce. There's another actor I would mention, by the way. Guy Pearce, I think, is an extraordinary actor. Films like Memento, LA Confidential, etc., etc. He's a real comedian actor, so to get to work with him tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
A very good character.
Oh, he's an incredible character. He can change. Really amazing. So yeah, on stage, I would love to have a go at King Lear, perhaps, but that's in about 10 or 15 years' time, hopefully. Although my beard is white, I don't know why. If I had on a red hat, I look like Santa Claus.
You're hired.
It's almost Christmas time, hooray, work at last, banter. And as I said in film, I would just love to be in a Bond. I really would. To play a villain or something like that in a Bond film would be great. Also, I would like to play. This is not a theater as such. This actually isn't a theater, is it?
No.
So I'd like to play Macbeth on stage. But you can't say that word at the theater.
No, you don't want to say Macbeth in the theater. No.
Oh, that's me said a lot. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Hello?
Hello, my name's Jeanette and I'm from Wisconsin.
You're not. Give me your accent. Let me have that accent.
Sorry.
I need a Wyoming accent by 5 a.m.
Something like, don't you know? Or something. Actually, I saw Royal Shakespeare Company's Coriolanus in Stratford-upon-Avon.
When I was doing it?
Yes.
Wow.
And I have to say, it's still, to this day, my very favorite production of any Shakespeare that I've seen.
Oh, thank you so much.
But I was wondering, in your time with them, what was your favorite character play to do?
Well, Coriolanus is an incredible part. I mean, it's an extraordinary one. I got to work with Janet Sussman, Tim West, Greg Duran. I mean, as I said, I grew up through that company, and you know those parts, like Henry V was also one of my favorite parts to play there. Coriolanus is a hard part to play because he's very isolated, whereas Henry V is a man of the people. I played Hal in Henry IV parts 1 and 2, so I played the same character for 2 years through 3 different plays, and that was immense. In fact, it was very difficult to come out of character after playing it for so long, because we started rehearsing Henry IV Part 1. We did that for 6 weeks of rehearsals. Then we opened it in the Swan Theatre. Then we started rehearsing Part 2 while performing Part 1 in the evening for 6 weeks. Then we would perform Part 1 and Part 2, 8 shows a week, one after the other. And we went into rehearsals for Henry V. So we were rehearsing that in the morning and in the afternoon. And then it got to the situation where on a Friday night we would play Henry IV Part 1, Hal, as a young prince, Henry IV Part 2 on the Saturday afternoon, as the elder prince, who then becomes is the heir apparent, becomes the king at the end of Henry IV Part 2, and then to play Henry V in the evening. So, you know, over a period of about 18 hours, you're going through the whole cycle. So that was my zenith, I think. Yeah. Thank you, and thanks for seeing that show, and thanks for remembering.
Hi, I'm Melanie and I'm from Vienna. And my question would be, because Sherlock Holmes is a rather old story, so how do you think have the different adaptations from TV or movies or theatre changed during the last years?
Okay, could you say that again? I'm so sorry, because the speakers are putting that out
No
there.
worries.
I'm going to just try to step forward. I can hear you, that's great.
The different adaptations, because it's rather old,
Yeah.
so how it has changed during the last years.
Did you mean sort of like different adaptations of Sherlock Holmes
Yeah, how
and
they
a lot of
modernized
things?
it or something.
Yeah, as I said, if the source material is there, then I think if it's a great story, it can be told at any time. I mean, of course, with Holmes, you've got both of those. You've got Elementary, you've got Sherlock, and Serena McKell has just played it brilliantly in quite a different angle on the story. Again, it goes back to the source material. If it's rich, I'm very happy with it. Go with it. Yeah, I think they can be told again and again, and I'm sure Sherlock Holmes will be being performed on Mars in 3,000 years' time.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, I'm sure. Being watched by
Science fiction.
Yeah, be great. Yeah. Thank you. Hello.
Good day to you. My name is Kira. I've been pondering over some thoughts about Sherlock Holmes' personality because he's a really, let's say, productive detective. But on the other hand, living with Sherlock Holmes, I guess it's very difficult, like living with Sheldon Cooper or something. Because like he's an egoist, he always wants to do the things like he wants to do them. He absolutely can't cope with the needs of other people. I'm sorry.
No, it's the boob. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. But if we ask Sherlock to stop being Sherlock, so to suppress his personality, he wouldn't be as productive.
Yeah.
So is there a message behind Sherlock's personality so that society has to deal with egoistic people
Sure.
like Sherlock to make sure we are a productive society?
Yeah.
Or do people with difficult personalities still have to try to adapt to the needs of others?
I understand. Craig, I think if you suppress your dark side, if you suppress, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I'd imagine that if Sherlock Holmes, as you say, were to suppress his negativity, so-called negativity, his perceived negativity, his dark side, his depression, then you're right, he would not be able to be as creative and as successful as he is. And yes, I'd say that applies to all of us, you know. I think I would encourage people to, if you're feeling, whatever it is you're feeling, if it's negative or down, you should be able to express it, because certainly you bottle all that up inside, you can't.
But does my level of being productive give me the right to force my personality 100% on the people around me?
Sorry, say that again.
Does my level of being productive give me the right to force 100% of my personality?
Not if it harms
around me?
anybody. I don't think it
harm.
shouldn't harm anybody. No. I suppose it's your own right to harm yourself, but don't. But you know, I think what I'm sort of saying is, yeah, sure, if you're having a bad day, we're all human. I think people are. We all forgive. I mean, certainly Watson forgives Holmes and loves Holmes, you know, and that's perhaps why he's hanging out with him. So yeah, if you're having a bad day, don't hurt anyone. But I think it's absolutely right to share.
Yeah, but also he has this addictive personality.
Yeah.
You see, I think in life sometimes you have what we'll say the good and the bad, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
it's just a matter of which one we want to show them.
Yeah, they can't exist without one
Yeah,
character.
it can't exist without the other. But with Sherlock Holmes, he has certain people that he can express his complete self to.
Yeah, few. Yeah.
And in certain ways. It's a very good question, because it's about who we are. This dark side and the light side, whatever you want to put this really strange words like that, which I don't like that much, but it's interesting, the personality, how it comes out, and when you can let it go, when you can, hold it back and so forth. We are in a controlled society. We live in a society where you have to check yourself all the time. So,
And we're observed more and more
observed.
now, so there's this need to sort of be transparent. If you step out of line and say something that's not PC, something's recorded there. So it is increasingly...
It's increasingly becoming difficult. We're becoming, what do you call, more into ourselves, the more expressive.
That's right.
So, but I think it's nice how to express yourself without hurting yourself or hurting somebody.
Good question. Hi.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm from Law Austria, and since you said before that you would like to play a Bond villain, I was just wondering what's your opinion on Christopher Waltz, since he's Austrian, in the new Bond movie and in general.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, Matt. Just be careful what you say. I'm working at the moment. I haven't had a chance to get to it. He's an incredible actor. And I haven't seen the film, but what I love about him, he's like another Christopher Walken. He's one of those actors that can be huge on film without it being too big for the medium of film. He's incredibly theatrical as an actor. Watching Tarantino's film had a just extraordinary performance. Glorious, and so I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I can't wait to see what he does. But I haven't seen it. I can't wait. But yes, that's the kind of theatricality that I think, Bond really needs. Those old style villains. And I think because we're sort of, there's a danger that theatrical acting is kind of now, because television has become so dominant and successful, it's perhaps a dying art and you don't see it so much. So actors that can carry it on. Yes, please. Thank you.
What do you, sorry, could you tell us a little bit about what you're working on at the moment? Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, so I've just voiced some video games, actually. Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
And the new Total War game, which I love to do, because you see an image of your character that is just some fantastic beast or dragon, and you're gonna just really play with your voice in the studio. That's gonna be fun. Just done a couple of those. Done a film called The Dancer in France.
When's it coming out?
It'll be out for a year. They're still shooting that. We'll shoot that right up until Christmas. Gaspard Noël's in that. Sokol, the punk artist, is playing the lead. Lily Rose Depp, actually.
Oh.
She's in it too. And that's about the Folie Bergère, and sort of set about 100 years ago in Paris. It's a French film.
You speak French?
No.
And you're doing Western, you shouldn't Western.
Yeah, this Western, I'm just so excited about this Western.
That's pretty interesting. You're in Western and Central Europe.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper to be cheaper. I think Wyoming's cheaper in Europe than it is in Wyoming.
Great, sounds pretty cool.
But yeah, as I said, working with Guy Pearce now.
I mean, a Western is like, it's totally different from Shakespeare, right? It's like, this must be another.
Yeah, I got a horse.
You got a
I'm not a cowboy. I'm more of a sheep man. But I got a horse and a rifle.
Oh, okay.
Nearly a cowboy.
They give you a horse and a rifle just to herd the sheep.
No, I don't shoot my sheep. But I've just been doing some sort of Western writing at a Western writing school in England, just an hour's drive from Innsbruck, in a town called Lems. Wonderful.
So you took some classes there?
It's just so different. Western writing is very different.
Right, the
It's
saddle
almost
is
the
different.
opposite.
Yeah.
The saddle is different. The instructions you're given
Is
to
it
the
different?
horse
Yeah,
is very, very different.
Yeah.
But it's just like a hat, right?
Great.
Fantastic. It's also a wonderful, wonderful story.
Okay.
It's by a
Can you
Dutch.
tell us a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's about a Dutch. It's directed by a really great Dutch director called Martin Koolhaven, and he's also written it, and then it's been adapted by an American into English. It's a phenomenal story. I'll just say Dakota Fanning is being brilliant. Is the heroine, and she is pursued. I'm choosing my words carefully. Libel myself. She's been pursued by Guy, who's her nemesis.
Okay.
But the story is epic. The shots are epic. It's a really powerful.
Are you guys shooting throughout winter? Or?
Yeah, we're going to shoot right up to Christmas.
And just in Europe, and then also in the
No,
States?
we're not in the States at all. In Europe, we've been in Germany. Now they've been shooting in Austria, and we're shooting in Hungary, in the north of Hungary for the next 2 weeks, and then we're shooting in a studio in Budapest up until Christmas time.
Great.
Well, then actually the second unit are shooting in January, yes.
Okay.
But you know, in this beautiful country, I've come from the others, the Tyrol. The landscapes here.
Beautiful.
It's extraordinary. And Wyoming is an epic landscape.
Right.
So they've come here to capture your epic landscape.
The fauna is the same, I think. The fauna in Wyoming and
The what?
the trees and the fauna.
The trees, lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Wyoming.
Oh, well, there you go. That settles that one.
yeah, I love to go to Wyoming.
Yeah, I love the idea of the open space.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Well, I actually went to school in California, but I was born in Zimbabwe.
Right.
Yeah. But I went
Educated
in the
right,
States,
yeah.
and then I went on to England. I lived in England for 5 years, 6 years.
In London?
Yeah. You know, I did the bridge, the whole thing. But I want to thank you so much for a beautiful interview. I really had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Please give Mr. Houston a round of applause.